Hello, it's Joni here from the Intuitive Body and Soul and JonesArtGallery.com. Okay, I will be doing another mandala for you today. And if you did not see our last one, I will show you. This is the last one that we did online here. So you certainly can find it. You can find it at the DATV. You can find it on hopefully my website. Hopefully I will have it up there for you soon. Okay, this is the one that we did just the other day. Now I have the same one that I embellished, and of course put some sparkly stuff on, because you can never have enough bling. Everyone knows that, right? So these two. All right. So now, before I continue, let me tell you that as we go along, you may get some of your very own ideas about what you want to do. This is another one that was done. This one. You see the star shape in the middle? Extremely cool. And we're only limited as far as we can stretch our imagination. This I did with my 8-year-old cousin Chloe. Good job, cousin Chloe. And this one was done with my 6-year-old cousin Gianna. Okay, so these girls are limitless. They know no limits. Okay, and neither one of these is done, by the way, so they're going to continue on. All right, so what are we going to do today? Today we are going to do this mandala. Okay, so even though this is on a round surface, we're going to use our 8 by 10. All right, and you can actually be any size that you want it to be. All right, so for this exercise, you will need to know what we're doing, which is this. For paint, you will need your white paint. You will need your yellow paint, red paint, and let's see, red, yellow. I think that would be good. I think that's all we need here. This is a very limited palette, what I call a limited palette, where we're only using a few colors here, because in the red we're going to add some white to it so that we get different values. We're going to go from red to kind of a medium dark pink to a light pink to an almost whitish pink. So this is going to be an awesome, awesome piece. So you will need your paint. You will need dotting tools, and I'm going to say some people have dotting tools, some don't, so we're not going to use anything that we don't have kind of lying around the house. Okay, so this is a Q-tip, right? So if you take this Q-tip, oh well, actually the stick ones work a little bit better than the plastic ones. Let me see if I have the stick one here, which of course I do. All right, and if we pull the cotton off of the tip of this, what you end up with is actually just the stick part. All right, so if you then take and put a little bit of white paint around it, and I'm going to open up my white paint, at least I think I am. So if I have a drop of my white paint, I'm going to put it around this stick part and just kind of get all of those little filaments together. And then on the other side, okay, you can kind of leave it the way it is, put some paint around it, and just kind of make it hard enough so that you can use it as a dotting tool. The other thing that I'm going to use is templates for circles, okay, which can be covers, cups, vitamin bottles, more vitamin bottles, and the caps themselves, as long as they're flat and round like this, actually make pretty good circles and very big circles if you have an extremely large surface. So those, I'm also, one of my favorite discoveries is this dauber, this dropper, okay? It's a little dropper that there was some face serum in, and it's just the top of it gives a little bit. So when you dip it in the paint, if you're pushing down on it like this, you can get different size kind of dots. If you press down really hard, you get kind of a wide dot. If you're pressing down just a little, you get kind of a smaller dot. The other thing is any kind of caps. Now this was actually the cap on a, like a mascara thingy. Okay, so it's a long cap, but as long as, like I said, the top is flat and round, you could use it. This top is just the top to a chapstick container. So I put it on top of this. So now I have two different sizes that I can use. All kinds of cool stuff. Peanut butter caps, any kind of caps that are, this is a bottle cap from bottled water. Okay. So like I say, round, flat objects is what we want. And the objects that are not kind of round and flat, you can use as templates for circles. Okay. So have a little box or container where your dotting supplies are. If you really decide that you're going to get into the dotting, the tools are very inexpensive to buy as well. Okay, so along with that, you want to have a ruler. Okay, this is a ruler, a pencil. All right, you can use a graphite pencil to create guidelines. I am going to try to use this white charcoal pencil so that you can see it a little bit better on camera. We're going to use a piece of paper to practice on. Now those of you who have done the other mandala class have already practiced, but you might want to practice a little bit more. You can never practice too much. Right? So besides a canvas, you could use a regular canvas, which is a piece that is, the canvas is stretched all the way around a piece of wood and then stapled onto the back of the canvas. So it has some width to it. And this one I've been working on. Okay, this is a canvas panel. As you can see, it's really, really thin, and I stuck it in the white paint already. Okay, so just wipe it off. I just wiped it off. Okay, and hopefully now I'm going to behave. So this is a canvas panel. So it's actually canvas paper that has been glued or mounted onto a board. Okay, and these are fine. The canvas boards are easy to frame if you decide that you want to frame them. The canvas is stretched canvas. Okay. You can have the option of framing or not framing, as long as you kind of bring the design over to the side. So this one I kind of started painting, but I wanted to show everyone. Okay, so we have our paint, we have our dotting tools, and we have our practice paper. So now I am going to readjust the camera and hopefully get it right this time. Okay, and I actually made some guidelines on my table. Yeah, there! Okay. Right. So the very first thing that we actually need to do is paint our canvas, get our canvas ready, our canvas board. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera here and face it right like here so that you can see what I'm doing. Does that work? Okay. So the very first thing, of course, that we want to do is prepare our canvas or canvas board, which means you need to get your black paint out. So again, black paint. Use your, have a water dish nearby, because you're going to want to kind of clean your tools as we go along. Put it right here. Let's take this. And so again, black paint. If you have brushes, use your the biggest, flattest brush that you have, and mine kind of looks like this. Okay, so the biggest, flattest brush that you have will do the trick. And I have already started painting this one in order to show you. So I'm actually just going to put a little bit more black paint right on this canvas. Okay, I just kind of smeared it right on the canvas here, and I'm going to begin to paint it. So paint your canvas, make it nice and smooth. Okay, and it needs 2 coats. Your canvas panel. If you don't have canvas or canvas panel, you could actually use a very thick 140-pound watercolor paper. You could, in fact, use a canvas board or a tag board or poster board. Anything that's actually thick enough to hold the paint and is not going to buckle underneath the paint. So if you're not sure if that's the case or not, you're going to want to kind of test it out first. But a canvas panel and a canvas, of course, will always work. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry, and then once it is dry, I'm going to put a second coat of black paint on it. All right, so you can stop this video. You can stop the video if you want and let your canvas dry out. Right. In the meantime, I have one that's already dry. Okay, so if you don't have one yet, all right, like I said, you can kind of stop the video and wait till it dries out. So I'm going to move my water dish here. I want to make sure that you can see it. These are my videos are so non-professional that I'm hoping that I kind of get better at them as I go along. So let me see here if I can do a better job at getting you situated. All right, let's put this over here. Okay, so I think you can see. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, actually, like I said, this is an 8 by 10. So I want it to be kind of an 8. So I'm going to take an inch off this side. An inch off this side, right here. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of make this, making it into an 8 by 10 only because if we want to use it helps if you do it straight. Okay, so I'm holding this up against the dot, and then this ruler up against the side of the canvas. Okay, so now I have an 8 by 10 area, right? Which there's a line here and a line here. So this inside is an 8 by 10. So that being the case, the middle of this is 10. Okay, and we want it to be 8. So the middle is going to be right around 4. Correct? 4 inches. So now I know where the middle of my canvas is. Okay, it's right here. So now I'm going to take my ruler and go from corner to corner here. And again, you could use a graphite pencil. I'm going to use this pencil so that you can see the guidelines. Okay, so we're going from corner to corner. I'm using the 8 by 10 measurement. Okay, so now I have this crisscross going right through the center, right? I have this line here and here, so this middle box is giving me an 8 by 10. So now I'm going to go right through the center horizontally. Okay, and of course it helps if your ruler is straight right up again. You could use a T-square actually. T-square would help you keep it straight. Okay, so I'm going kind of heavy with my white charcoal pencil. Right, and then I'm going to go the other way. Okay, again, through the center. I'm using the center as a guide. Can everyone see what I did? Okay, and where I'm standing there's a little bit of glare, so hopefully that's not in our way. All right, let's have some hot cocoa. So now I'm looking at this handout once again, and like I said, we're going to do it on a square surface. If you have a round surface, a disc, or even an old record, that actually would work too. Any kind of round surface would be a-okay. So I want a small circle. I want a small circle in the center. So, and I can see where my center is. So in order to do the circle, I have this see-through old prescription container. And see, you're always wondering what the heck to do with those containers. Now you know. So I'm looking straight through it because it's difficult to find the center if in fact you can't see through it. But these bottles, not only are they see-through, they have a little dot on the top of them. So you can line up that dot with your guide dot and have this really awesome circle. Okay, here's my circle. Right? So I'm going to place this aside, and I'm thinking that I would like to have a small circle here. So I'm just going to kind of wing it. This, as I look at this, there's a small circle, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rings around it. So I am going to do 1. And as I'm doing this, I'm looking at the circle that's already there. Okay? So now I have this. Right? We have some that are kind of on the close side. So I'm going to take this, and again, in the middle of the circle that I already have there, I'm going to do another little baby circle. Right? And if yours does not come out exactly like this, so what? Okay, we're all using different tools, different circles, and so on and so forth. So don't you worry about a thing. Okay, so I'm just giving myself a little bit of a guideline so I know where I want to put this. Okay, and that did not work out too well. I'm crooked on one side. So the joy of using a chalk erase pencil is that it comes off really easily. You can just rub it with one of these Q-tips and it'll come off. So here I want this about here, and here I want this about here. So I'm going to try this again here and here. Okay, that's better, but not much. Okay, so again, let's take that off of there. And this time, I think I might do a better job just doing it on my eyes. Okay, so now I have a circle I can work with. Alright, and as I say, I'm going to get rid of any lines that do not serve me well. And the other thing to remember is that even if you end up with more lines than you think that you want, they can actually, at the end, we're going to use the same black paint that we used for our background to make any corrections. So that means any lines that you see, any dots that don't look quite right, you can go right over them. Okay, let's see. All right, so now I'm thinking maybe big circle, maybe big circle. Do I really want one that big? I think I might want one that big. So I'm going to try to center it with my eye. I'm actually going to give myself some guidelines here. Actually, that is looking pretty good. Okay, so now I'm just going to connect them. Connect the dots. Okay, so this is what I look like. So I have a little bit of a grid going on here. I'm going to fix this one up a little bit. Okay. That's looking good to me. Right, so we have a grid that we can work with. Now these are just for guidelines, obviously. If we want to, we can make corrections as we go along. We can make changes as we go along. We are the creator. We can do whatever we want to. So now I'm going to take my practice paper. Okay, so take your practice paper. And now let's play around a little bit with some of our tools so that we get a really good idea. Oh, okay. All right, sorry about that. I was just noticing I had these see-through CD thingies that would help us to make circles as well. But let's go ahead and play a little bit with our dotting tools. So now one of the colors that we're going to be using is red. So I'm going to shake up my red because who knows how long. I have lots of paint all over the place and we want to shake them up a bit so that if they've been sitting there for a while, we know. So I've just put a little bit of red paint on a paper plate. Now you can use a paper plate, you can use a plastic plate, you could use a palette paper if you have it, right? But actually anything will work. Anything that will hold paint will work, right? So now I'm going to take my my little, this is again the cover to some chapstick. Okay? So if I take that and I just dip it in the red, right, and this is what it looks like on the cover, and then straight down. Look at how beautiful that is. Okay, very cool. So now I'm going to dip again. The bigger your dotting tool is, the quicker it'll run out of paint. So now I'm going to put one on this side. Okay, and my paint is, my paper is kind of pulling up, but it won't pull on your canvas board. Okay. So here are my dots. Now, the very next thing you should do is get a paper towel. Make sure you have paper towels nearby, and clean off your dotting tool. Okay, and I'm going to actually put it in the water here, and then get a paper towel and just wipe it off, because I want to reuse it, so I don't want the paint to dry on there. Now I could use the other side as well, right? So let's take some of our yellow. Actually, let's mix some pink, because we're going to do that a little bit later anyway. So if I take this red and I mix it with the white, okay, then I get this really kind of cool pink color, which I can then use. I can use this Q-tip to dot around my dots. Now, bear in mind that I am doing one side, then the other, because this is how you're going to make them even. Okay. Can you see that? Right, so I have a pink dot here, here, and here. And now I can go ahead and put 2 dots beside it. Okay, so it's really helping me with spacing. Right? And you will find that you space better when you do it this way. Okay? Alright, so now this Q-tip that I use, this swab, I'm just going to push the paint back down the Q-tip and just kind of let it dry like that, because once the paint dries on it, I can use it again. Okay? So let us try some yellow, because we're also going to have some yellow on this picture. Okay, so like I said, this dropper cover, I absolutely love these. Right, so I'm going to put it in the yellow. I'm going to dip it in the yellow, and again we're going to end up with a little dot of paint here. And then I'm going to go one side, 2 sides. All right, same type of procedure that I did before. All right, and dip, and then I'm going to go as close as I can without actually touching the other dot. Doing that, now I can put 2 dots in between them. Okay, can you see that? All right, you might be able to see it even here. I move this out of the way. Okay. So I'm going to do that all the way around, and like I said, if in fact you put your dots on that way, one on each side, and you have 4 dots, then you have pretty equal distance between them, and so it helps with your spacing. Okay? Again, dip into the water, clean. Clean, clean, clean. Right? So now, pencils. Pencils are very cool. I have one that has a very sharp point for making very tiny, tiny dots. So you can also use the eraser pot to make bigger dots. Okay? Right, this pointed on this pencil is not as sharp as this one is. This is sharper, this one's not. So this one will make slightly bigger dots than this one will. Right, so let's once again play around a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to dip into my red with the eraser part of my pencil, and I'm going to once again dot in such a way that I can create equidistance here. So I put these 3 dots around the yellow dots. Okay. Now, in here, I can put, this is a pretty big surface, so I put another dot in between those. Now I actually have enough room to put another dot there. See? Good. All right, so spacing them out like that, all right, starting with one on each side, that leaves equidistance in between them, and it makes your dots space better. Put it in the water, clean it off. Right? So this, again, this pointy side of the pencil, it will make very, very tiny dots. I'm going to put it into the paint, and then I'm going to do dot, dot, dot. There you have it. See how tiny those dots are? I could go in between the dots. I could dot around the dots. Okay? Having a point that small gives you a whole bunch of flexibility. Right? This pencil is not as sharp, so I'll show you how big these dots are in comparison. See the difference? Okay? Now, I don't know that we'll do any quite that small. This picture has some pretty decent sized dots on it. But there are dots that go from large to small. That's called walking the dots, right? So let's walk the dots. So here, I'm going to go around my big red one. I'm going to go just like this, right? So I let it run out. I let the pencil run out of paint here as I'm going along. So the difference between these dots and these dots are that this I'm letting the paint run off the pencil, so it's running out of paint. This one I'm re-dipping all of the time. Okay? So if you want to stop the video and practice a little bit, that would be awesome. If you've already practiced, because you are here for the second, third, fourth, fifth, zillionth time and you are ready to go, then we can just go ahead and start. For the rest of you, stop the video and practice. Okay? All right, so I am going to move this aside. And I'm going to move some of my tools out of the way here. Right, and the very first thing that I'm going to do is put some paint on my palette, and again I'm using a paper plate as a palette because we want to use things that people have at home, just things that people have at home. So I'm going to put this over here so you can see it really well, and maybe I can move you closer. And how does that look? You see really good? See good? So the colors that I want on here, the very first one is going to be a pink dot. All right, so let's put our colors out on our palettes. I'm going to put red certainly, and white. I want white out here. And I'm going to put some yellow. And let's see, this is a pale yellow. I think if I can reach across you, I see some brighter yellow. So any kind of yellow that you have is fine. Again, these absolutely do not need to be the same. It's actually nicer when they're kind of unique. uniquely yours. Okay, so chances are we're going to need a little bit more out here because I have a tendency to dry. So I'm going to put this here. Try to make a little bit of space. Okay. Hopefully you can see this good. Does that look okay? All right, let's try that. All right, so the very first thing I want to do is make a kind of pink dot here. Okay. So I am going to take one of my Q-tips, right, and my plate, and I'm going to start with the white. I'm going to take some white over here. Got quite a bit of white here. And then a little bit of the red, and mix it in. Okay, when you get a nice pink that you like, you're good. Okay, so you can continue to mix. You can do lighter, certainly. You can do darker. To me, that is looking good. So I am going to try and keep this right in this spot. Let me move my like this here a little bit. All right, so I have a relatively small dot in the middle. So I think I'm going to use my chapstick cap. Okay, and you can use any cap, any size circle that you like. We're just going to try and get it right in the middle here. Ah, I love it already. Okay, I'm going to clean my cover. And in this handout, you can see that there are two colors on here. There's actually red on top of that pink. And we can do that too. We're just going to make sure it dries first before we go ahead and do that. So this has some rather small dots going around that middle dot. So I am going to, see, what do I want to use? I think I'm going to use the pencil that has the flattest tip. Okay, in my case, it's this one, right? And you use the flattest one as well. So here we have some yellow or gold dots. If you have metallic gold and you want to use that, that works out okay as well. If you would like to take your yellow, and I used my heaviest yellow or my brightest yellow. So I am going to just take it and mix it with some white. So this gives me a lighter, brighter yellow. Okay. Or if you wanted to tone it down just a little bit, you could take some brown here. This is a burnt sienna, which you do not have to have a burnt sienna. You don't have to have a brown at all. And if you do not have a brown, but you would like a brown, red and green makes brown. So we always have lots of options here. So I'm going to take just a little to tone it down some, gold it a little bit goldy here, okay? And I'm going to add a little bit more white. So once you get a color that you love, and you're done. Okay, so I'm kind of liking this palish yellow color here. The table is a little bit squeaky. Apologize. So I'm kind of liking that yellow. Okay, so I'm going to take my pencil and put this here. And remember that we're going to go from top to sides, okay? So I'm going to use my guidelines, certainly. Okay. And remember that we're going to dot on 4 sides. Okay? Dotting on 4 sides here. I'm wondering, put something underneath here. So let's try this, see if you can see that better. All right. So again, putting my pencil tip there, and I'm going to, once again, okay, doing my dots this way. Using my guidelines. Okay, and if you have to redot, that's absolutely fine. Go ahead and redot, especially when you're using a pencil point or a pencil tip. So now I'm thinking, let's do 2 dots in between each one. And I'm going to have to lay this down, I think. Okay. So this dot, I'm going to redot over here. All right, and again, if they're not absolutely perfect, you can, you'll have an opportunity to paint over them if you like. All right, now what I'm seeing here is I'm kind of too far away, one, and this is kind of overlapping itself here. So let's pick that up a little bit. Like I said, we can fix anything afterwards as well. Okay, and this one may be a little bit too small. So I'm actually going to take that one off altogether by dipping my Q-tip or swab in the water and just taking it off of there. Okay. These little guys go here. All right. So now I have the opportunity to redip and redot. So I'm going to redot right there and there. Okay? Better. Better. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so now we have another row of dots as well. Still putzing around here with this one. Okay, so the next row of dots, I'm going to use the same pencil point, but I'm going to go right in between each of these dots. Okay. Right, and you might only be able to get like 2, I'm thinking maybe 2 dots out of each one here. Right, what ends up happening is your pencil eventually runs out of paint. Your pencil point runs out of paint. So turn this around. And you can see what's starting to happen here is something very cool. Okay. So in between those dots that are already there, right? So now we end up with this. Okay, so if there's any you need to redot, like this one is, that one was a little small, I redotted it. Redot, here we go, here we go. Right, so that looks pretty cool. I am going to go ahead and clean off my pen point. Okay, so now we want to go just a little bit bigger with our dots. So I'm actually going to use the Q-tip that I had dried the paint on, except mine is not dry. So I'm going to go ahead and use a new one, all right? So I'm going to use the same paint, which is that pale yellow paint. Okay. And I'm going to go in between the dots that are there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go in between. Okay, and maybe in between those dots, we should have done our crisscross here. Cool. What do you think? Awesomeness. Okay, so once again, I'm going to take this and just rub the paint down the Q-tip and then put it aside and let it dry so that I can just kind of reuse it. Okay, so now I would like to go back to my pencil, and my pencil eraser actually. Which one did I use already? This one. Okay, and again, the same paint. I'm going to use the same kind of paint, which is this off yellow. Right? Maybe I'll put a little bit. I'm going to add maybe a little bit of my darker yellow to it, just to make it a teensy bit different, because I like that. Okay, so now we're going to follow we're going to put them in between. I'm going to follow our pattern here. In between that, in between here. Okay, and sometimes this is holding it up is better if you hold it flat down, but I want you to be able to see, so. Okay, so we have this going on. Right, and actually I would like this to be a little closer here, so I'm going to move it a little closer. And a little rounder. Okay, so that's what I have there. I'm going to clean off the excess paint because I have a lot around the side of my eraser. I think I'm going to try a different pencil. This one has a really flat and worn down eraser. So I'm going to try that one. And again, see where my guidelines are? I'm going to put one here. There we go. All right, so in the middle. Okay, so this eraser. Might be a little bit too worn as well. So let's try this guy and see what he does. All right. So again, okay, on our line. So this is what that looks like, which is extremely cool, I might add. So I am going to do this one, I'm thinking, and I'm going to mix some more here. Okay, so I'm putting in some white. Actually, maybe I'll pick up a dab of red. This is going to give me kind of a little bit of a yellowy type of a look. It's kind of cool. Okay, so now let's see what we do. So I'm putting quite a bit of paint on my pencil, and I want to go in between the dots I already have there. Isn't that cool? All right. Voila. Okay, this one could use a little work. Okay, that one could use a lot of work. Just have too much paint on my pencil. So I'm going to go back and dab it. And flatten her out just a tad. There we go. Okay, looking good. Liking it, liking it. Okay, I am going to clean off this pencil, at least the eraser part. Okay, remember to dip in the water and just kind of clean it off a little bit. Put it aside. And now, let's go. I'm thinking let's put just some little, we're here, we want to go and maybe put a little bit bigger on the outside here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, let's go ahead and put this on the outside. I'm going to use my biggest and most favorite tool, which is this little guy. Okay. And I'm going to dip, and if you don't have enough, let's make some more here. A little bit of white. Okay. And does not have to be exactly the same shade as what you already have there. Absolutely not. Okay. Whatever you want to do, you are the creator, my dear. So for this, right, these are going to be our biggest dots ever. So let's put them in between the dots that are already there. Okay, I'm going to have to hold this flat, I guess. Sorry, guys. In between the dots that are already there, as close as I can and without actually touching them. Okay, but like I said, this particular tool, the more you press on it, the wider the dots are. So if you have some that aren't quite wide enough, you can go and just push them a little harder, and that should do the trick. There we go. And I am going to double dot these, top dot them. So if there's a little spot in between them, That is A-okay. This spot where the canvas may be showing through. What happened? Oh, nothing. Okay, are we recording? We are. All right. I wasn't quite sure. All right, I think we're okay. All right, so the next thing that we want to do, okay, is we have all of these outside circles. So we want to do some big kind of light pink circles. Okay. So kind of big, kind of big. I'm going to use, how big do I want it? Really, really? Do I want them that big? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. I want to mix more paint. Okay. This pink paint is not going to quite be enough, so I'm going to mix a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to take my white paint here and mix kind of a lot. Okay, so I can mix it in with what's there already and have a very nice light pink, which I think is what I want for down here. Okay. Okay, so for these big, I'm going to take my extra paint off of there, I hope. So for these kind of big, how big do we want them? Use your, use the biggest that you have for this one. I'm going to go quite large. I'm going to use the one I used for the middle dot, which is the cover of my chapstick. Okay. And this is going to go in between. Okay, you have guidelines here and here. So this is actually going to go in between these dots and in between those guidelines. So that's a pretty good sized dot. Oh, I'm so excited. That's good, that's good. Okay, so in between these two yellow dots, and here are my guidelines. So I'm going to try to get as close as I can. All right, those are nice. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so again, between these two dots. Okay, see that? Okay, and the cover's coming off. It's better if you can, I'm trying to hold it up so everyone can see, but it's better on a flat surface, certainly. Okay. Nice, this makes good sized dots. And you can kind of control it a little bit as well. It's kind of cool. Okay. Very cool, very cool. All right, taking this, put it in the water, and just rinsing this off a bit. Okay. So let me take it all the way off of there. I think this will be one of my favorites. Okay, so now we're going to do our first walking the dots. All right, walking the dots is actually easier than it sounds, because once you dip into your paint, then you'll just kind of let the paint run off the in this case pencil. We're going to use a pencil. So I'm going to use the one with the flattest point. If you don't have one with a really flat point, you can take it and just run it along a piece of paper like this. Now, this one already has all kinds of paint on it, so it doesn't really work anymore. So obviously, you don't want to use your very favorite pencil, because once the paint dries on it, it's kind of done for. All right. So I'm going to take the same pink that I used to make those big dots, and I'm going to put a big dot in the middle like this, right? Big dot in the middle, and then I'm going to just go walk it right down the end, to the end. What ends up happening is that you run right out of paint and the dots get smaller, smaller. So I want to do the other side, so I'm going to go back into that big dot because I want them to be even. And I'm going to walk these all the way down here. Okay. That look cool? All right, so I'm going to continue, and I mean these little tiny dots over here, could really use another little dot of paint. That's okay. All right. Okay. So we're using our pencil with the flattest tip, and I'm getting about 6 dots down on each side. Okay. Okay, so these dots, we want them as close as possible without actually touching each other. And you're going to find that the paint dries rather quickly on the edge of the end of the pencil, so you're going to clean it off every now and then. Okay. And you don't have to go fast. If you feel that I am going quickly, 2, 3, 4, 6, and it's a little too fast for you, you're probably right. I have been doing these for a while, so and the same thing with you. By the time you finish this picture, you will be a dot professional, because you will no longer be an amateur. You will do so many dots that you get good at them right away. All right. But in the meantime, halt the tape, halt the video. If you need more time, just halt it until you catch up, and then go on to the next step. You don't have to worry about a thing. This is something for you to enjoy. One of my, at the beginning of this, I showed you my 2 cousins their pictures, and one of them said to me, "Ah, I could do this all day long, Auntie Joni. I love this, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Me too." And the other one was like, I don't know. I'm kind of hurrying. I want this to be done, Auntie Joni." So, everyone's personality is different, certainly. Some of us, to me, I find this very meditative and very relaxing, and we end up with a nice picture at the end of all of this. Some people do not. Some people, they want things that move quicker or develop faster. So if this is you, do not worry about it. You try it. The important thing is that we try it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Okay, so we are on our next row of dots. All right, so I'm going to use the same pink, but I'm going to add some red to it because we want this row of dots to be a little bit darker. Okay, I'm going to go a little darker still. So here I'm just using a Q-tip here to mix my colors. And if it doesn't mix all the way, like it's kind of marbled in there, that's a-okay as well. We like different kinds of things. So if your paint is a little bit candy striped, I like it. I think it looks great. Okay, so now I am going to make the first top dot a little bit bigger. Okay, and I'll show you. It's going to go right in the middle of these two. And I'm going to make it a teensy bit bigger. Okay. I'm going to do that for each of these little guys, and I'm doing it, making it bigger by really kind of puddling the paint on there. I'm going to go all the way and do that to all of them so that they're kind of same size. And want them nice and big because we want to go bigger. So I have some pretty decent sized dots on there. And now I'm going to walk. I'm going to walk on my dots. Ready? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I actually have 8 dots going down the side of that. Is that not cool or what? Okay, so let's try doing the other side here. There we go. Nice, nice. Okay, so we want them as close as possible without actually touching. Who knew? Who knew dots could be so satisfying? Very cool, very cool. So these dots are a shade darker. which kind of gives a graduated wash to our picture. Gives it a little bit more depth. Very, very cool. Okay, I'm going to redot some of these little guys way over here. Okay, set it on that side. Set it over there. Okay, again, if you need to stop and catch up, you can stop the recording at any time. Hit the pause button on your TV. Okay, so this dot's not coming out so round, and I'm thinking it's because of the buildup on my pencil. So once again, just take it, wipe it right off of there, and then reload. Reloading my pencil. And that definitely took care of it. Okay. Okay, here's my second row of walked dots. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this off again, my pencil, and have some of my hot cocoa. And now, my third set of dots is almost red. Almost red. So I am taking my mixer Q-tip that I have here, and I'm putting lots of red in here. Lots of red in my pink. Okay? So my dots, I'm telling you, they are getting pinker and pinker as they reach the top. Okay, so I'm actually going to use this Q-tip that I've been using to mix to, in fact, go and make a dot that is a little bit bigger still than the one I already have there. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bigger still here. And those are going to be my first dots. Then I am going to walk those babies. Make sure they're nice and round. This guy could be a little bit bigger. So remember that you're the creator here. Okay? And you can do whatever you want. Nice. I'm liking that one. So make sure your dots are all nice and big and round. Okay, that looks extremely cool. All right, and I'm going to move this out of my way. And now I am going to use the same pencil to walk the dots because I am having so much good luck with it. You could, in fact, take, let me see if that's going to work here. Oh, maybe not. Okay, let's use the pencil point. Let's use the pencil point here. Okay, so the same ones that we used to make these other dots, now that we have our big center dot, let's load up the pencil here and walk these dots. Okay, so there are my darker dots, and again I have to say I really like this gradation that's going on here. It's quite exciting. So I'm only getting like 6 here because the edges are starting to get fatter, so we're not going all the way in towards the yellow dots. So we're not needing quite as many, but I'm loading up the pencil point pretty well here. Don't you like that gradation of color? Very exciting. Very exciting. Okay, get it right on the point here. Okay, there's a glob of paint right there. So, I'm going to clean off my pencil and take this glob of paint. Can you see that mistake right there? I'm going to turn, get this off of here. Okay, let me take a cleaner Q-tip here and get this off of here, just like this. And I'm going to put it in my clean water and just take it right off. So actually, what I did is I ended up taking off 2 of my dots. Okay, so we're just going to pull it right off of there. I'm going to dry the area a little bit with the other side of the pencil. I'm going to clean off my pencil tip, which I have done. Now I'm going to pick up more paint here, and then I'm going to redot that area. Okay? Piece of cake, baby. Nice. Okay, so again, take your time. Enjoy the process. If you are feeling like, oh gosh, I can't keep up, again, just stop. Just stop the recording. Pause the TV. Stop the recording. Okay, until you catch up. So because we're kind of doing bigger dots here, I'm really loading up the pencil, and quite a bit of it is actually drying on the pencil, so I'm consistently having to clean it off, which is fine. Okay. If you decide that you really do love doing these dotted mandalas as much as I do, look into getting yourself some dotting tools, and at the end of this recording I will show you what some of them look like, although some of them you may already have. Some of them are for your nails. I think originally that's what people were using. People are very versatile. They're also using knitting needles, crochet hooks, dowels, wooden dowels. You name it, people are using it. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I'm definitely going to clean off my pencil because we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1, 2, 3. So we are going to do yet another row. Okay. So for the other row, we want the dots to be the biggest yet. So we're going to use a bigger dotting tool, which for me is going to end up being my favorite little dauber. I guess you know, when people play bingo, I guess they use daubers. This is actually a dropper. It's actually a dropper. But the bottle is empty. So I wondered what it would be like to use this as a dotting tool. And I'll tell you, it's one of my favorites. Okay, so now I am going to use again my tool here, and I'm going to mix this red in here. So this is going to be my reddest, pinkest color so far. Okay, and again, that graduated look there is absolutely awesome. And because this is such a big area here, I'm actually going to put a little bit more red paint out on my palette. And you can do the same if you don't have enough, but I'm going to mix it right in with my pink here. Okay, right here. There we go. Cleaning off my Q-tip, and I am going to close up my paint so it doesn't dry. I am going to take my dabbing tool here, and this is what it looks like with paint on it. And again, these biggest pink dots, I am now going to put a rather large dark pink, or some people may look red, because there's a lot of red in there. I'm going to make it my darkest yet. My darkest pink yet. Right, so again, coming as close as possible without actually touching the dot that it's near. And like I say, with this particular tool, it's a little bit of flexibility because the more you press on it, the bigger the dot gets. So as long as I kind of keep an eye on what I'm doing, I can kind of control just how big that dot gets, which I like control. Some things you know you want to be spontaneous about, vacation and all that good stuff. Other than that, we like to maintain a little control here. Okay, so these are my biggest, pinkest, reddest pink dots. Okay, I'm going to put my little cover in here, and then I am going to clean it off. All right, and now I am going to take my pencil, eraser pencil, and use that to make the second set of dots. Okay, I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so you can see it looking very cool. Actually, let's fill in a couple of these. There we go. All right, because this is a bigger tool, I'm actually running out of paint on the tool a little bit faster. So all that means is that you have to dip a little bit more often. Okay, see how nice that looks? We go from light pink, a little bit darker, all the way to this darkest area. Okay, and if you don't have enough room to go up inside there, do not worry about it. Okay? Okay, so an eraser, a brand new eraser that you have not used, is going to work out the best for this. Okay, this eraser is not exactly flat, which is okay. So let's get the other side here. And if the paint, again, is kind of building up on the edges here, let's just clean it off a bit. And I wonder if I can straighten this out a little bit. Okay, some on the other side here. Okay, so nice and controlled in through here is what we're looking for. Okay, clean off your pencil. Okay, and this is what you have here so far, which is extremely cool. Absolutely loving it. So we want to create some of these cool yellow dots that are going on around here, and kind of in between where the areas are. So let's, I think, this is round. We're going to use something, I think we'll use we're going to have to mix once again, right, with our yellow and white. Okay, so I'm going to take my white paint and mix it in with my yellow. Now, if your yellow has dried on your plate, put some more yellow, okay, because it needs to really be a certain consistency in order for you to really be able to, there we go, in order for you to be able to dot correctly, the paint wants to be a good consistency. So I took quite a bit of white because I'm going to lighten this up a little bit. Again, I think I like it a teensy bit lighter. And let me go and get my phone.
Hello, you have it.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now we want to mix this lighter yellow, and again, if it's a little bit streaky in there, actually kind of cool. Alright, so this is what it's looking like a very whitish, yellowy, very pretty. I think it's pretty. Okay, so I am going to take my pencil, the one with the flattest point on it, and look at that little handout and see this coming out this way here. Actually, let's put in these four first, I think. So let's just kind of decide where we want them. So 1, 2 here, and here. Let's see. Here and here. Let's do 1, 2. Let's do 1, 2. Let's try just 2 here for now. Let's use our dauber here and right out here. Okay, and again, it does not have to be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to kind of eyeball it now. I'm looking from here to here. Okay, okay, liking it, liking it. And I think I'm going to put another one here, like this. You could measure them out if you wanted to, but don't necessary, actually. I'm going to put the other one right here. Okay, so see, I have like these 4 big yellowish white dots, which are extremely cool on here. Now I'm going to clean the top of this off. Place this aside. And then I'm going to use my flat pencil, flattest eraser, pencil eraser, and do my second dots. Okay, so here's a second dot here. All right, so our surface is rectangular. The handout is on a round surface, which is very awesome as well. But we're going to change it up just a little bit so that we end up with this kind of cool rectangular composition here. Okay. So now I'm going to clean off this, and I am going to use a brand new Q-tip. Okay, small is good, and I'm going to dip that in there, and I'm going to do 1, 2, ta-da! And 2. So what we're doing is we're getting gradually smaller as we go down the line. And I'm going to place this aside. I'm going to use the pencil that has the flattest tip on it. And I'm going to make 1, 2 more. Okay. Alright, that's pretty. That is very pretty. So now we want to use our pencil, and we want to put a dot on each side of our second dot. Okay, dot, dot. And I'm still using the pencil here. So I'm ending up with that. Okay, dot, dot. Because this is going to tell us where our second row of dots is going to go. So we put them on. Alright, and now that we have those on, we're going to use these to get gradually smaller. I'm going to put 3 more dots there. Okay. And if the paint is building up on your pencil, clean it off of there. Okay, so we have 1 more row to do over here. Again, still using the same pencil. I'm doing 1, 2. And actually it's supposed to be 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're going to end up with 4 down each side. Okay. Very, very cool. Okay. So now we're going to make another row of very small dots, and we're going to just put those dots below this second dot. See that? Below the second dot. Okay. So that's what I'm looking like. Clean it off my pencil point, and then walking these dots all the way down here. Okay, so kind of 4 more here. It kind of goes into a one line here. Okay. So we're just bringing these dots all the way down. Okay, so we end up almost like a little pine cone effect here. So I am going to take my pencil and make another dot right on the side of this, and one on the top. Okay. Actually, let's take the ones on the side off of here. Kind of liking it better without it. Okay, let's take that off. All right. Okay, one more dot, just like that. How awesome. How awesome is that? Okay. So right in through here, let's put the same pencil, but let's use the eraser part and put a dot here. Okay, so we have these two on the side. Let's put this right in the middle. And then I'm going to follow my eye down here and put this one right here. Okay. I'm going to make sure those are nice and round. Okay, use your flattest pencil point. And let's walk some more dots. You guys, I bet, are getting really good at walking these dots. So I am going to walk these dots like this. Okay. Let's go to the other side and walk these dots. And I'm getting about 1, 2, 3 on each side. So we have all of that going on. Let's walk them yet again. I'm going to make a bigger dot here. Okay, and a bigger dot here. Right. Starting to get some balance going on over here. Clean off your pencil points. And we're going to walk these dots. Okay, nice. Ta-da! Right, I'm going to make another big dot with the eraser of my pencil right here, like so. Right here. Right, so let's clean off the erasers and the points. So now I'm going to use the same pencil that I used to create those dots to now walk these dots. Okay. Nice. And once we get this done, right, and we want to walk these all the way down. All right, we are ready to top dot. Okay, so now I am going to use the same pencil. I'm going to kind of clean the pencil, both the tip and the tip of the pencil and the eraser part of the pencil. Okay, and I'm going to start top dotting. So these dots that are kind of in the middle are relatively dry on mine. All right, but they're not all the way dry. So I might be taking a chance here, but you know, you can pause the recording and let yours dry out even better, certainly. But I am going to go ahead and I'm going to use this kind of bright yellow in through here, and I'm going to top dot these little guys right here with this really nice yellow. Okay, and see, can you see those little tiny top dots? I'm getting quite a bit of yellow on my canvas, which is okay. Because remember that we can correct it with black paint. So I'm getting quite a bit of paint, actually. My hands are dirty on here. But again, we can fix that easy enough. So I'm going to continue to top dot these little guys. With a little bit of the deeper yellow. This gives them it actually gives them a nice 3D kind of look. Okay, so there. And for these dots, I'm going to use the really pale yellow to top dot them. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is switch. I'm going to switch to the Q-tip for these little guys. And I'm actually going to switch to the white because I'm not really seeing too much difference here. There we go. Nice top dots. So I'm top dotting these guys with white paint or very light yellow paint. You can use that as well. Okay, if you stick your hand in the wet paint and you get it on this part of your canvas, it'll be easy enough to clean. But if you get it on in the dots, you're going to have a hard time. So I'm going to say let it dry really good before you top dot. But again, let me kind of do this for you. Okay, I'm going to top dot these babies. Okay, and again, just using a regular Q-tip here. Okay. And when these are all dry, when they're all the way dry, you can add some sparkle to them, like the ones that I showed you earlier. Or you actually can just Mod Podge them. If you Mod Podge them and put any kind of sealer on them, that makes them look really awesome. And the type that I use is Mod Podge, and it's a kind of craft glue that the kids use, but it's actually a sealer. I'm going to reach behind me, so if you hear a big kaboom, it means I fell off my chair. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is Mod Podge, right? And again, it's a sealer. And this says gloss luster, which means it's a shiny finish. Okay, so for those of us who like lots of bling, all right, nice shiny finish. And then again, sometimes I actually put sparkles right over it. Okay, so for these bigger dots in here, I also would like to top dot them as well, but I'm going to top dot them with the darker pink that I have here. Let's see if it actually works, because mine is still pretty wet here. Okay, so top dot. All right, not too bad. Okay, top dotting. And these dots are actually big enough that after these top dots dry, you could put more top dot. You could put a third dot on here. And the third dot could go back to being this light pink color. It could be a white color. It could be it could be all sparkles. That would be okay with me. Okay, so like I said, these are not totally dry yet, but dry enough for me to show you how to top dot. Okay. So on the rest of these, the only other thing that's really top dotted here is this middle dot. Which I think will go ahead, and it has a, that in the handout has a dark pink top dot. So let's do that. Ah, beauteous, beauteous. Okay, so let's clean off our dotting tool here. Okay. So here are all my homemade dotting tools, and I do want to show you what tools you can use that, I mean, these were relatively easy to use, certainly, but then we have tools that are made specifically for that. And let me grab a couple and show you what they are. Okay, so these tools are actually, I think most of them are like for your nails. Okay, see them? They have little balls type, and one side is bigger than the other. And then when you do your nails, you're supposed to be able to dot and so on and so forth. However, when you use them on here, okay, even easier. Okay. And now, of course, I have to go and do them all. All right. Okay. And like any other tool, you have to make sure it's clean, especially if you're going to, you know, obviously you're going to have to store them. So they're really going to dry out quite a bit between you using them now and later. Okay, they come in different sizes. This looks like a straw, but it's actually a solid acrylic rod. Okay, as is this. Okay, see, so anything that has a round, a flat surface, okay, you can use. And then, like I said, the other are actually just dotting tools that I originally bought for nails, but people definitely are using them as dotting tools now. Okay, the other dotting tools that I have, again, are these acrylic rods, right? And they make really big. They make really big dots. Okay, so they would make a really big dot, like the size of the big pink ones in here. Right, so the green, these are kind of color-coded. Green ones are the biggest, and then I have yellow and pink. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, this is the widest, thickest, then the yellow, and then the pink. Okay, so they make all different size dotting tools, and there are many different types of dotting tools. So actually just find one you like or make your own, because like I said, a lot of people use knitting needles, crochet hooks, dowels, skewers, anything like I said that has a flat surface, or the dotting tools actually have a ball surface. Okay, so now if you're kind of looking at this, which is very cool, but like I said, it does have a lot of kind of errors on it. Okay, so here's our rendition. Okay, so I'm actually going to take and put some black on my on my palette, in this case, is my paper plate. So I'm going to put just a little bit of black on there, okay, and like I said, this I used a chalk pencil to get these lines on. So with a chalk pencil, I actually can just wash them off. All right, now I actually do need to make sure that it's all the way dry, because I have some lines in here that I have to wash off as well. So if I try to wash them off over here, then I really am going to drag the paint. So I'm not going to do that. All right, but let me show you that with either a brush, all right, a brush or a Q-tip, all right, you can fix your boo-boos here. Okay, and again, as long as you're using the same paint that you use to do your background, you know, it'll cover, it'll be all set. You won't see it. Okay, so I can actually take and put this over some of the lines in here. You can see my guidelines and paint over here, so I'm going to do both. I'm going to take my line here. Okay. I have another guideline right here. I'm going to cover. Right. So as I said, I have a few guidelines and whatnot that I will want to go over that are in here. Okay, like in through here, right, and in through here. So again, for me, I'm going to really wait until this dries out really well, and then I will go ahead and wash the rest of the chalk off, and then with a very fine brush or a Q-tip, I can get in between these areas where I can still see some guidelines. Okay? I totally enjoyed spending time with you. Let me see here. Maybe I can talk to you face to face a little bit. There we go. There we go. So I really enjoyed spending my time with you. This is today's masterpiece. Okay? And again, after it dries, put a finish on it, put some sparkles on it, whatever your heart desires, because you are the creator, right? I am Joan Turner from jonesartgallery.com and intuitivebodyandsoul.com. We do a lot of work in both those areas, all right? And I do a lot of online tutorials these days, okay? So join in. We're happy to have you, and have a good day and enjoy painting. Come up with a few ideas of your own. Like I said, just put a few guidelines and then do some dotting. You'll absolutely love it. All right? Have a good one. Bye for now. I'm going to find, oh, there it is.